Welcome to the Explainer. Today, we're deconstructing a tool that aims to give your AI coding assistant a perfect memory, basically transforming it from a forgetful helper into a core member of your dev team. All right, let's kick things off with a frustration that I'm sure every single developer out there knows all too well. You fire up a new chat session with your AI assistant, right? And poof, it's got total amnesia. It has no clue what your project is about. So you find yourself explaining the entire architecture, the tech stack, the coding standards, again and again. So to really get how this is being solved, we're going to walk through this 5-part journey. We'll start with the problem, dive into the new philosophy, see how it actually works, check out the tech that makes it all possible, and then talk about what's next. Okay, so let's be clear. This isn't just a little annoying. It's a really deep, fundamental design flaw in how a lot of these AI tools work. Think about it. All that critical architectural intent, all your brilliant ideas, they just vanish the second you close that chat window. And that means wasted time and, you guessed it, inconsistent code. Here's a good way to think about it. Most AI tools today are like hiring a temp worker every single day. Yeah, they're pretty useful for the task you give them right then and there, but the next morning, you gotta brief them from scratch. They have zero deep, persistent knowledge. They're not that full-time project manager who gets the project, who knows the history, who understands the big picture goals. So what's the fix? Well, it's not just a new feature. It's a whole new philosophy. It's called context-driven development, or CDD for short. And the core idea behind CDD is honestly a game changer. It's about stopping our reliance on these super fragile chat histories. Instead, you take the project's brain, its goals, its technical rules, its entire identity, and you make it a permanent, version-controlled part of the code repository itself. That way, the AI can tap into it anytime. And that, right there, brings us to the tool of the hour, the Gemini CLI Conductor. It's basically the first major implementation of this philosophy. It's designed from the ground up to be that perfect project manager, the one who remembers every single detail. Not because it has a great memory, but because all those details are literally baked into the project's DNA. Okay, so that's the big idea. But how does it actually work in practice? Well, the first thing to know is that Conductor isn't some free-form, anything-goes chatbot. No, it's very structured. It actually enforces a pretty strict 3-phase protocol for getting anything done. Everything, and I mean everything, follows this life cycle. Establish, plan, and then implement. And this structure is super deliberate. The whole point is to let the AI do the heavy lifting, the tedious stuff, while making sure that you, the human developer, always stay in strategic control. This is the crucial takeaway. The project's context, it's not just some fuzzy idea in your head anymore, and it's definitely not buried in some forgotten chat log. It now lives and breathes in a set of plain old Markdown files, right there in your repo. And those files become the single source of truth that drives every single thing the AI does. Let's dig into that first phase, establish. This is where the magic really starts. Conductor guides you to create these key context artifacts. You've got product.md, which is all about your goals and user personas. Then there's techstack.md to lock in the languages and frameworks, so no surprise tech choices. And what's really cool is workflow.md. You can literally codify your team's process, like your commit strategy or even enforcing test-driven development. The AI isn't just helping, it's learning your rules. All right, after you've established the context, you move into phase 2, plan. And this part is absolutely critical. Before a single line of code gets written for a new feature, the AI generates a detailed spec.md and a step-by-step plan.md. You, the human, have to approve it. This is a massive checkpoint. It prevents the AI from just running off and building the wrong thing, which, let's be honest, saves a ton of time and headaches. Okay, but what's the secret sauce here? What technology actually makes this whole context-driven thing possible? Well, the answer is the absolutely massive power of the engine under the hood. We're talking about the latest Gemini models. So let's talk about that number, 1 million tokens. To put that in perspective, a token is kind of like a word or part of a word. 1 million of them, that is a gigantic amount of information. It's big enough for the AI to basically swallow an entire enterprise-scale codebase in one go. It can see the whole picture, understanding all the complex connections across hundreds, even thousands of files at once. And this isn't just theoretical power. This chart shows you exactly how capable it is. This is the SWB bench score. It's a benchmark that basically throws real-world GitHub issues at an AI to see if it can solve them. And Gemini 3 Flash, the faster, more efficient model, scores an incredible 78%. That's outperforming a lot of older, beefier Pro models. This thing is a legitimate, practical problem solver. And this massive context isn't just about raw size. It's about intelligence. It's about finding the signal in the noise. In one test, they threw a pull request at it that had over 1,000 comments. You know how those get, just a sea of conversation and noise. The model was able to sift through all of that, find the one single actionable change that was required, and then apply it. That's incredible.
Okay, so let's zoom out a bit. Where does a tool like Conductor fit in the bigger picture? What does this all mean for the future of how we build software?
It's really interesting to compare Conductor to something like Cursor. They represent two totally different ways of working. Cursor is this AI-native IDE, and it's amazing for that rapid, in-the-moment vibe coding. You're just riffing and getting quick suggestions. Conductor is a whole different beast. It's a terminal-first tool built for those big, rigorous, multi-stage engineering tasks, the kind of work that needs formal planning and a memory that lasts longer than a single session. Now, if you're looking for a direct competitor, it's probably Claude Code. They're both powerful terminal-first tools. But the real differentiators for Conductor are, one, that explicit context-driven philosophy we've been talking about, with those persistent Markdown files. And two, and this is a big one, a super generous free tier. We're talking 1,000 requests a day, which makes it incredibly accessible for anyone to try out. Now, we have to be real here. This is a preview release, so it's not perfect, not by a long shot. Early adopters have definitely run into some issues. The installation can be a bit tricky, there's a nasty crash that's been reported on Windows, and people are asking for more flexibility, like, hey, why can't I easily update a plan after it's been generated? These are all valid friction points for an early-stage tool.
And all of this really leaves us with a big, provocative question. As these tools, like Conductor, get better and better, and they start handling more and more of the actual line-by-line coding, what happens to the developer's job? Does our role start to shift? It really points to a future where maybe the most valuable human skill isn't just writing code, but being an expert context manager, someone who can define, curate, and communicate the project's vision with absolute crystal clarity. What do you think?